God, itches. Oh, this? I got bit by a gigantic spider. Ooh, wait. Shit. Damn it. Well, it was worth a shot. Too bad, though. I just watched your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and I wanted to give swinging a try. But at least I have this great show until then. Let's talk about it. I want to start with something like a disclosure about this show. My pal, Jeff Trammell, was the head writer. I can't describe how weird and cool it is to see your friend's name in the opening credits of a Spider-Man cartoon. Every time I saw it, I was like, oh shit, I used to be in bad sketch videos with this guy. Jeff, a few years ago, won a place in the Nickelodeon internship program and, long story short, worked his ass off and ended up writing in another amazing show on Cartoon Network, RIP, called Craig of the Creek, where he also got to hang out with the show's music composer and one of my favorite musicians, Jeff Rosenstock. They even played D&D together. So here's a guy from my neck of the woods, around my age, writing two amazing shows and hanging out with one of my absolute favorite musical heroes. He's living my dream! A younger me might be filled with some kind of jealousy over this, but I'm too old and I have too many dead friends not to just be filled with a probably unearned sense of pride in a hometown pal done good. Congrats, and here's to many more years of success for Jeff Trammell. All my personal connections aside, I loved this show. Trust me, ask any of my friends that have ever dared to ask my opinion on something they've made. I'm not just saying that. The show as a whole was light and fun. It's full of small but interesting twists on a well-known character. The show is full of references and nods to Spider-Man and MCU lore and moments we all know so well, but with just one simple change that makes it feel completely new. It just goes to show that, much like the Absolute Universe over at DC that I've been reading and loving, or the Cape Crusader show they made, if you understand a character well enough, you can change it in ways that only make it better. You can change small but foundational things about a character you understand enough, and not only will it not ruin what makes the character that character, it will highlight just how special they are. It's truly a hard magic trick to pull off. My biggest worry going into the show was the choice of animation style. The cel-shaded, computer-generated style was something I'd seen before, specifically in the DC animated film Super Sons, and absolutely hated it. It just looked cheap and really took me out of the story. While I'm relieved to see that in the intervening years since that movie, they seem to have worked out all the kinks because it worked so well for this very comic book inspired show. The cel shading in conjunction with the smooth computer animation and the ingenious use of comic book paneling, especially in the action scenes, just gelled in a very satisfying way. It all did a great job of making this show feel like a comic come to life. It just goes to show any choice you make can work if it's motivated by what's best for the show. As for the story, I love the way the typical side characters we would expect have been remixed and shuffled with a cast of characters that gave an interesting fresh dynamic to Spider-Man. Some of these characters are deep pulls too. I had no idea who Nico was until a friend gave me the lowdown on her, and now I'm even more excited to see what comes of her story. Aside from Nico, every character felt deep and fully realized. The arc that Tombstone goes through especially captured me. A story about how, no matter how good the individual is, if they're trapped in a corrupt system, it will corrupt them by any means. Surprise, surprise, really got into my little anti-capitalist heart. On top of all that, the final fight with the Venom symbiote that looks suspiciously like Kraven is an excellent use of the bootstrap paradox, something I learned about as a massive fan of Doctor Who. I love when a story perfectly loops back around and buttons up cleanly. I've also been reading and enjoying the tie-in comic book which fills in the gap between the opening fight and the first day at school with a small stakes, fun story of Spider-Man learning the ropes. It's in the middle of its run, which is good because if I had any criticisms at all about this show, it'd be that it's too short. But that is how it goes in these streaming times. Gone are the days of 20 episode long shows that last. It's amazing that any show could fit so much story and get people invested in such a short time. These are all circumstances outside the show's control, though, but I can't really think of any other things I didn't like about the show. Maybe if I'm really nitpicking, Scorpion was a bit one note, but that's me really trying to find something I don't like. But what about you? Did you have as big a blast as I did, swinging around New York and saving the day? Are you friends with people who have done some cool stuff and you want to brag about them? Leave it in the comments, then do all the liking and subscribing YouTube stuff. And until next time, death to the algorithm.